Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Justin Mickle, CEO and co-founder of NutriCompass. I'm here with Simon Boag, CEO and co-founder of Arrow Homes. Arrow Homes is pretty interesting as a company. They are a manufacturing plant that builds houses, like designer level houses that are net zero. Um, and they're pretty cool. They're awesome. They're built in modulars and they're shipped on site. And within the span of like 3 days, you have a whole new house that wasn't there before. So if your neighbor left for like Labor Day weekend, they come back, their new neighbor looks sick. Um, it solves so many different issues when it comes to housing, the housing crisis, all these other things. We're going to get a lot into it when it comes to this podcast. Please welcome Simon Boag.
Justin, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you. I got to tell you, I checked out some of your other podcasts and walked away totally inspired. So
Wow.
you have set a high bar, and now I'm nervous that I'm going to be able to meet that expectation that you set. But well done.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have to ask, what was the thing that inspired you to deal with that housing crisis in particular? Like what spoke to you about it?
There's a bit of a long answer to
Mhm.
that, and we're doing having this discussion in 2026. If you'd asked me 6 years ago if I'd be on a podcast with you, talking about the housing crisis and solutions to it, I would have laughed. So, did not think I'd be here doing this. But about 6 years ago, got into a discussion with Innovation Endeavors, a venture capital firm in Palo Alto, um, that I was working with on a bunch of their other projects, and they were looking for a solution to the housing crisis. And there's really two big problems we're trying to solve. One is that there's a lack of supply of housing, number one. Um, uh, but the other is sustainability. If you look at
Mm.
housing in general, just its impact on the environment is huge. And got into these discussions. They kicked off a project. I got involved as an advisor and really got infected by the idea that you could make such a big difference with one focus, and that's what we're doing. We're the net zero homes, as you said. We're taking on the sustainability problem with housing,
Mhm.
and our speed is really going to solve the housing crisis. Not with what we're doing today, but
Mhm.
where we will grow to. We're going to make a big impact.
Awesome. Because that brings my next question. What's the ultimate vision for Arrow Homes?
Yeah, so we kind of see it as they call it a lighthouse type of initiative where 20 years from now everybody's going to be building houses this way. So
Mhm.
today it's very bespoke, it's very custom. You have a piece of land, you go and get design a home that fits that piece of land. It's a slow, incredibly inefficient process.
Mhm.
And when you look at housing is your single biggest purchase that most people will ever make, and and it's where you live, it's where you spend your time, and why you need a million different variations of that house is wrong. It's
Yeah.
I spent years in the automotive industry, and if you're buying a car, you have your requirements, and then you have the design side of it that fits together. You
Mhm.
don't need everybody doesn't have a custom designed car,
Yeah.
right? But people love their cars. There's things that speak to them about their car, and then there's the functionality. That's what we're trying to do with housing: is get that. Got to have that functionality, and it's going to speak to people. Not everybody, but it's going to speak to people, and those are the people that we're trying to target.
I mean, honestly, that's awesome. Because if you think about the amount of research that goes into building the standard Honda or the standard Toyota car compared
Yeah.
to building like a bespoke like sports car, Bugatti or whatever, um,
Yes.
like the level of detail that goes into each individual thing to make it as efficient as possible being translated
It-
to a house is kind of impressive, but also insane. Um, so in regards to like, I just want to put in perspective, it takes 2 years to build a house normally, but
yeah,
with you guys, it takes less than 12 weeks, or
exactly.
it takes less than a month now.
Yes. So the way we look at it is we call it our cash conversion cycle. So
Hmm.
money out of the bank to buy a property, to taking that existing property, because we're infill development. We're not doing greenfield. We're not doing new subdivisions. We're looking at the 85% of houses in this country that are in existing neighborhoods.
Hmm.
And if you look at the age of those houses and the size of those houses, built built for a different period, a different time, a different customer, and this is really industrialized housing replacement is what
Hmm.
we're doing. And so when we look at that time, it's cash out of the bank to buy a property with an older, smaller house on it. We replace that home with our property. We're a spec developer, so we sell it when it's finished.
Hmm.
If you said, "Hey, Simon, I want to buy a modular home," no, not so much. That's not our model. We
Yeah.
do that, but that's not our model. It's about, hey, when you're going to buy a house, you have a neighborhood that you want to live in. It's all about location, location, location,
Hmm.
and you have a budget. And you go and you look at all the homes that are for sale in that neighborhood. Um, you pick the best one that fits your requirements. You always overspend your budget, but we're going to be that best one in that
Nice.
neighborhood. It's going to be a finished home. Our competition is not Toll Brothers or Lennar or Pulte. It's it's the 15-year-old bungalow that's down the street. Um, but are coming back to the time, we want cash out of the bank to buy it, to building the home, cash in the bank from selling it. So the complete cycle, we want to do that in 90 days. And that's the big unlock here, because real estate is the biggest constraint is debt, how much money
Hmm.
you can borrow. And so if you can go get a line of credit for $100 million or whatever it is, that will allow you to build X number of homes. We're doing it 6 times faster. So our constraint is still the $100 million, but we're going to build 6 times as many homes for that $100 million. And
Hmm.
what that means is, coming back to your earlier question, you take that speed. What's our impact? Yes, we're starting with expensive homes now, but we're going to be able to move down in price point
Yeah.
to eventually affordable housing. And when you're doing affordable housing and you're building 6 times as many houses you as you can with whatever debt that you have,
Hmm.
that's going to solve the housing crisis in this country.
Yeah. Vertical integration, like pure vertical integration, which is honestly, that's super cool. In your experience working in the automotive industry, how did that transfer over when it comes to building houses? I mean,
Yeah, pretty straightforward, right?
mhm,
In fact, if you look at an average car today, there's about 7 or 8 thousand parts on the bill of
mhm.
materials to build a car. For a house, it's only 1,100. So it's actually easier, a lot bigger,
Yeah.
but it's a lot less of the finicky stuff. And the nice thing about it is, as we start our manufacturing process and get into the rhythm and the flow, it's going to be easier to get better and better and better
Hmm.
because we have a fewer amount of parts. And you've been in our plant. I'm going to brag on our plant a little bit.
Yeah.
I love the
It's
team there
awesome.
and the workforce. And as you walk into the plant, everything in the plant is on wheels.
Yeah.
All the toolboxes and the benches and the racks, they're all on wheels. And they're on
Hmm.
wheels because as we're learning, as we're growing, right, we're continually changing the process flow. And I think the plant's at 5 or 6 variations of that process flow
Yeah.
now. And it's easy to do because everything's
Hmm.
on wheels. So
And you also have hovercraft to move the actual modules around when it's time to move around. It's
exactly.
it's insane. Like,
Yeah.
I really recommend people visit the plant and like see what's going on with it, if
Yeah.
they're interested. But uh, So you have like when it comes to the plant, and I've like remember a lot in your in not just philosophy of how the plant's built, but in lean innovation. Um,
Hmm.
so how do you describe lean innovation in a manufacturing plant? Like what does that look like?
So the first of all, it's just common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We use words like lean and kaizen and trying to adopt it. We say we're adopting it from the Japanese, but it was really an American who went to Japan after the war to
Mm-hmm.
teach them how to rebuild their manufacturing, and they took it, ran with it, and then we've been chasing it ever since. But lean is really about being able to see waste.
Mm-hmm.
And as you look at anything, whatever you're doing, you ask yourself, is this value added?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I don't get to define what value add means. The customer defines that. So in
Right.
terms of a house, for example, what's value added in a house? Well, the nails that go into the studs that hold it together, the customer wants to pay for that. That is huge value add. But the customer, an example of non-value added is, let's say there's a quality issue and we have to rework something, or we're waiting for materials to be delivered or something like that. That is all waste, and the
Mm-hmm.
customer isn't willing to pay for that. So lean manufacturing is all about being able to see that. And when you can just kind of stand and watch something happening, or it's something you're doing, and to be able
Mm-hmm.
to say, is the customer willing to pay for it? Yes. Okay. Value add, do more of that. And if the answer is no, the customer's not willing to pay for it, then stop doing that. And the test here is, right, is this conversation that you and I are having right now, is this value added or
Mm-hmm.
not value added? Right?
Right.
And you can look at it and say, well, if it's not going to, if you're not going to inspire somebody with your podcast, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen your podcasts, you are inspiring people,
Thank you.
then that's value added. Your customers taking away something from that, and you need to be able to see that. And the point that you get to, hey, Simon, this conversation isn't adding value anymore. We got to cut it short. Now you're doing lean
Right.
on your podcast, and
Yeah.
that's all it is just being able to see that.
Okay. So being able to see and identify waste and then to remove it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. That's really useful because I'm very curious about your perspective on other industries as well, because I feel like you have this stethoscope of, okay, well, once you kind of learn how to detect lean or detect waste, you kind of see it
Yeah.
everywhere. But where like, if you were to pick another industry to work in, what would it be?
So you know where the biggest, and I'm going to get in trouble here because I have some friends in New York, but the biggest source of waste is investment banking.
Yeah.
So if you look at mergers and acquisitions, it
Mm-hmm.
is a $6 trillion annual industry.
Mm-hmm.
And an investment banker, all the investment banker does is connect a buyer and a seller. Buyer and a
Right.
seller of a company, but and they take 6, 7, 8% of the
Mm-hmm.
transaction volume to do this transaction, and it's waste.
Right.
If you look at when eBay started, if you look at what Amazon does that sets up marketplaces, they connect buyers and sellers very efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been able to do that at a corporate level, at a
Yeah.
company level, to buy and sell companies. So
Yes.
um, I am terrified right now that somebody's going to go in, watch your podcast, take that clip, and I'm going to be talking about the waste of investment bankers. And the next time we try and we need an investment banker, we're going to be in trouble. But that's the truth. So
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I feel like when it comes to companies, when it comes to building anything that's worth selling, like trust is such a high bar to make when it comes to pairing an entrepreneur with the investment. Because
yes,
like and this is a perfect segue into our next topic. Being an entrepreneur, asking for investment. Like,
yes.
yeah,
Right on. Right on. That is such a source of waste.
yeah.
Right? Because it's the problem is it's supply and demand. It's just like
Hmm.
the housing crisis, right? There is insufficient supply of capital, insufficient
Hmm.
supply of money to invest in investors and entrepreneurs in entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And so you have this supply demand imbalance that if you're an entrepreneur, you're not just selling a good idea.
Yeah.
You have to be better than every other idea that's out there, right?
Hmm.
Because there's only a limited amount of money that's going to be funding entrepreneurs, and that's what makes it really, really tough.
Hmm.
And I think it was one of your earlier podcasts that mentioned, because it's tough,
Yeah.
it makes it worthwhile. And it's
Hmm.
so true. It's still an imbalance. We got to fix that imbalance. If we really want the country to take off in terms of prosperity,
Yeah.
we need more entrepreneurs.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. I think that it's interesting I mean, the dynamics do shift. I think entrepreneurs have to kind of meet the standard where they have to get from like, the best way I described it that I described it earlier was if you're a guy and you're like a two, if you get at least to like an eight, investors want to invest in you. Right. But
Yeah,
if you're not, then there's no shot because the percentages of actual investors that are willing to invest in you specifically is pretty
right,
low. But
right.
is it 0.2 or is it 2%? I forgot the statistic.
It's actually 0.5%
Oh, cool.
of, so you have to talk in order to get somebody to write a check. So you
Hmm.
think about it this way is you have to talk to 200 investors to get one to write a check. So that's
Wow.
an average, right? And it's being skewed right now because of AI, but you got to
Hmm.
think about that. Who has you've got to have thick enough skin to go and get 199 no's before you
Yeah.
get one yes. And
Yeah.
if you need 5 or 6 yeses,
Hmm.
boy, you are hearing no a lot, and you got to thrive on no. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
bring it on. Give me another one. Is that the
Yeah.
best you got? Give me another one.
The ability to thrive
So,
on rejection for sure
yes.
is a superpower you have to do.
Yeah.
Um, so for you personally, what was that like going through that whole process with us with the first 3 years of Air Homes? Because I know that you guys
Uh,
just didn't have a manufacturer from at the blue.
yeah. Yeah. It was, it's tough. And especially, I spent 25 years in automotive, climbed up through the ranks, was a senior executive, and in a big organization, a lot of people kissing your ass,
Yeah.
right? And you start to believe the bullshit,
Mhm.
right? Everybody's telling, oh, that's such a bright decision. Oh, that's really good. And you start to believe it, and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
But you go from that to cold calling people and trying to explain, hey, we got this great idea. And people, literally, it's human nature, they jump to a conclusion right
Mhm.
away about
Yeah.
anything. And you really have such a small window to get involved. And I mean, this last round that we did with Arrow, um, we took the universe of VCs out there, narrowed it down to our short list of 800.
Mhm.
On those 800, reached out to probably 5 to 10 times each for each of the 800. Had conversations with about half of them, and
Mhm.
ended up with 3 or 4 that invested in this last round. And it just is this massive time suck of doing the introduction, setting up the meetings. You have to do your research on that VC and why you have to tell them why you're a good investment for their investment thesis, and
Yeah. Why should
it
I care?
just is a grind.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's pretty amazing. So because especially when it comes to thinking about how, I mean, doing research for the podcast is one thing, doing research for investors is another.
yeah,
Um, like investors, you're looking at their entire background, you're looking at the portfolio, you're looking at where they're interested in now, you're looking at the personality, whether or not you're going to be a good fit because you have to work with this person for X amount of years because now you have billions of
yep,
dollars on the line. Like
yeah,
that's a lot of stuff going on. Um,
yes.
when it
I
comes to,
gotta
you're good.
I gotta, uh, Angela
Nice.
Duckworth in this book, Grit, is such a good read. And that's what she talks about. She's gone. doing like what you're doing and and
Yeah.
talking to CEOs and just has categorized the different traits. And the number
Yeah.
one trait is you have to have grit, right?
Hmm.
You have to just be able to take a hit and keep going.
Yeah. Super important. How do you recommend people build grit if they were to try to build it?
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
Yep, just try, jump in, don't hold back, keep beating your head against the wall, and you somehow. I guess the trick is you got to reframe it.
Hmm.
When somebody tells you no, how do you reframe that? It's like, oh, okay, I just learned something, right?
Hmm.
Oh, okay, that's going to help me a little bit on the next one. If you take it personally, if you take it as, oh, they don't like me, they don't like my idea, maybe my
Yeah.
idea isn't right. No, screw them.
Hmm.
Your idea is good. That's why you're here, and that's why it's going to be great. Is because you get it. They just don't get it, and it's like, oh, okay, how can I tweak a tune just a little
Yeah.
bit so that the next one's a bit better? You got to thrive on that.
Hmm. I
So,
remember they were like, they asked Steph Curry, like, "Hey, how do you feel when a 3 pointer doesn't go in?" He's like, "Well, that one just didn't go in." Um, and that's kind of
yep,
how you have to work. You have to make adjustments afterwards and keep going from there.
yep.
How do you know what a good idea is?
You don't.
You do.
You don't. You just got to believe in it,
Yeah.
right? And it kind of fits that. It's You have to believe in it, and you have to know when to cut bait. And it's kind of like that, being able to see value added or not value added. Because
Okay.
because every single day you're going to learn more about whatever it is that you're working on, and you're going to be that much closer to it. And you have to be flexible enough that you can pivot.
Hmm.
And if you look at any successful company, there's these major pivot points in their trajectory.
Right.
And being able to see that and know, okay, hey, we're building homes right now, but wait a minute. If our mission is about the housing crisis and the sustainability, perhaps we would be better off financing modular net zero homes instead of building them. And you could do that total direction shift.
Hmm.
And it's not a matter of do you do it or not, are you second guessing? But you just have to be open to it. And that's, okay, maybe the vision that I had in my head of the future state, it's going to morph and change and grow as you learn more. And it's just kind of being open to that, hanging on to your conviction,
Right.
checking back with the why. Why
Hmm.
are you doing it? And then tweaking and tuning as you learn more.
Awesome. That's a good recipe right there. Um, so when it comes to like the why someone's doing the thing that they're doing, it's obviously for like a super big personal reason, right? I mean, that's what I've seen typically has been the reason, right? I was fat in high school, right? And then I wanted
Yep.
to learn how to, nutrition was the most difficult part of fitness. So I got
Yep.
into that. Um, like era homes, housing crisis is huge, right? Net zero and making sure that the environment's alive, because that way we can all continue to be alive
Yes.
and thrive. Um, right. And then when it comes to the houses themselves, right, having a beautiful home that people can live in, that people can enjoy,
Yeah.
what was going through your head when it came to designing this thing?
Yeah. So it's about the people, it's about the team that you build,
Hmm.
um, and having faith and trust in those people. So when we were getting started, there there's three co-founders that we have, and we kind of divided and conquered. And
Hmm.
one of the co-founders has the passion and the drive and the background on the design side of it.
Hmm.
And it was like, hey, Carl, okay, you've got all these great ideas. I don't.
Yeah.
You go do that. I'll go start hiring the team to build the company around that. And honestly, I mean, he came back with some of these designs, and we're talking about him. He's going, oh, and you can see the sight lines when you walk in the front door and the way the light. And I'm like, what is this foo-fooey shit, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And then when it all comes together, it's like, that's what he was talking about. And so, and really that is a case of that is something I have zero skills in. My
Right.
partner did.
Yeah.
And it's just trust. Okay, go build us a beautiful home. And he did. Yeah, y- now the challenge, some of the things that keep me up at night is how do we do that again and
Yeah.
again and
Yeah.
again? You can't be a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
You need the recipe, you need the formula that
Hmm.
produces those hits. So
Right on. So as a CEO, there's definitely blind spots that you have, but when it comes to your team, they cover your blind spots for you.
yeah.
How do you maneuver as someone who, isn't perfect, as someone who doesn't see everything? How do you maneuver in a world where you kind of have to know everything, right? You know, like,
Yeah. That's such the right question.
hmm
Right? Um, the most efficient form of government is a dictatorship, right?
yeah.
Because it's just do what I say, get it done, get it done, get it done. And that's very efficient. And there are times when you need that. But if you're
hmm
building a sustainable business, a big company that's going to be successful, you can't do that, right? You just, those blind spots that you talked about. And I think the most important thing is to get rid of your ego and be open to feedback. And that's the toughest thing. And when you go and you hire a whole team of A players that are
Yeah.
really, really good,
Yeah.
they have some strong opinions. And you hear about it a lot. And it's like, I got all this crap going on and things aren't working, and you got financing challenges and you got supply problems and you got all this stuff. And then you got somebody coming back and it's like, Simon, I didn't like the way you talked in that meeting. And, really you should. And it's like, and, you were like, come on, let's go. And it's like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
You are right. Thank you. And and that's such a difficult, I mean, I struggle with it. I try to do it, but if I could do a better job of that, the
hmm
company would be better as a result.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of putting down, getting rid of that ego and listening and taking feedback. It's tough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Communication is such a big thing that I personally struggle with a lot. Um, I'm like, okay, great. Let's get it done. Let's do this thing. We have a deadline here. Let's meet this deadline. Let's go, go, go. Right.
yes.
Let's, promotions here, podcast update. Like, let's keep going. And then, you miss a couple of things here and there. You're like, oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep. So true.
Uh, so how do you deal with what's your biggest weakness as a CEO? Like, what would you say is your, like, this is the thing I need to work on the
Communication.
most? Communication.
Communication. It's so, gosh, if I could communicate 1% better, yeah, that's it. And it's one of those things that's just, okay, I'm trying different things all the time. And
Right.
yeah, some are not working. But
You gotta get lean with them. You gotta figure out how to properly communicate in an efficient way. Um,
exactly. Exactly. And I think some of the challenge is, everybody hears things and has different communication styles. So as
yes.
your team's growing, you have to communicate differently to different people. And in addition to that, people individually versus people as a group
hmm
hear hear things differently when they're in a group than when they do individually. And yeah, it's you're growing so quickly. You're adding new people in. It's changing the dynamic, and yeah, it's that's the juggling act that you're doing. It's not just a juggling act. You're learning how to juggle, but now it's how do you adapt as you
hmm
juggle. So
So, okay, with communicating, and this is really important because communicating across different cultures is super important. Like, you're
yes,
you're working with how many people in your plant right now or on staff?
total in the company we're a little under 200.
So a little under 200
Yeah.
with very different backgrounds because Sacramento is
Yep.
the most diverse county on the planet.
Yep.
Um, Different cultures. It's a
Yep.
melting pot.
Yep.
Everyone's somewhere else, right? And
Yep.
communication is not standardized across any of
Right.
these channels other than
Right.
the language we're speaking, which is probably English, maybe, right?
Yeah.
And we have stuff in like Spanish or whatever, right?
Yep.
But different messages and tonalities will come across differently across different cultures.
Right.
So how do you bridge those gaps? How do you bridge the communication gaps there?
Yeah, and I think that again is a bit of reframing,
Mm-hmm.
because we have such a melting pot, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
that diversity is a competitive advantage, and it's a diversity of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you get a bunch of people that all think the same way
Yeah.
into a room, you're going to be able to move very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not going to be a very robust product. It just
Yeah.
won't be, because it's just this. But if you can get this environment where you have so many different ideas, then that's what's going to stress test the idea that you're working on. So coming back to what you were asking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
about how do you know that the idea is a good one? If you can get diversity of thought, then get out of the way, right? Because you're going to challenge it. It's going to drive you a bit nuts,
Yeah.
um, but it's going to challenge it at every point. You're going to stress test it internally before
Mm-hmm.
you take it to the market, and that's huge. And so, you look at our company, we're not a group of engineers that are working on a very discrete AI problem.
Yeah.
Because we go from actual manufacturing and construction to engineers to people that are working on large language models for aero homes.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that diversity of thought, that is such a competitive advantage to us. And I think our biggest advantage here, because we're really at this super, I'm going to go on a tangent on you, sorry,
No, for
Justin,
sure. Go for it.
but we're right on this cusp of this huge change. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about generational changes.
Yeah.
I'm living through my second one, because the internet was a generational change, but this AI is 100 times bigger than the information age of the internet.
Yeah.
And the question becomes, what does that mean for industry? What does that mean for hardware? What does that mean for construction of products in
Mm-hmm.
general? It's, in fact, I mean, the easiest job in the world to have an AI agent replace is a
Mm-hmm.
CEO, right?
Yeah.
Because all the CEO does is takes in information and then gives direction. That's it.
Yeah.
Um, so AI can do that better than you or I can, right?
Yeah. That's
So the
100%.
key for the future of the company is, how do we take all of this and use that as a competitive advantage for the company? And it's things like, I'm kind of geeked, these Meta glasses,
Yeah.
right, which are AI connected. It's not there yet, but as you get into augmented or virtual reality, imagine a craftsman that's working on flooring or doing a particular job, and it's like having a master craftsman on their shoulder saying, "Hey, the last
Mm-hmm.
time you did this, you did it this way, but here's an idea that, oh, your competitors are doing it this way." And it's kind of like, oh, hey, wait a minute. And what it
Mm-hmm.
does is, not only is it going to be more efficient, but for each individual person,
Yeah.
they're learning. They're better.
Yeah.
They're more skilled than they were before. Combine that with all this, what Elon's talking about with the humanoid robots and Optimus and blah, blah, blah. And there's this very real fear that, oh, well, we're just going to replace everybody with robots. That's not going to happen.
No.
We're going to enhance everybody. If we do
Mm-hmm.
this right, we're going to enhance everybody
Yeah.
as these robots come out, so that a carpenter or an electrician or a pipe fitter, we're going to give them robots to help, so that we
Yeah.
leverage their skills and they get better. And whether it's the less safe items, repetitive strain items, have
Yeah.
that done by the machine.
Yeah. If we're
And
building a
let's use,
skyscraper and someone's at 50,000 feet or however tall, we want the
yeah,
robot up there, because if a person falls, right?
right. And behind that robot, you want that carpenter
Yeah.
that knows what needs to be done
Hmm.
so that they're tweaking and tuning and guiding them. And
Right.
I really see that as our competitive 5 years from now,
Yeah.
10 years from now. That's what's going to make Aero super
Mhm.
successful. It's not replacing,
No, it's
enhancing.
enhancing for sure.
Yeah.
Because you also need the person to build the relationships. It's not really,
Yes.
there's some degree of agency that you need the human experience to have, like human intelligence side of
Yeah.
things. I
Yep.
think that AI has gotten, it's really great. It's information age on steroids. Like
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. I
Yeah.
could snap and have everything I need at my fingertips. Um,
Right.
but execution and as far as being able to connect with individual people, reach rooms, get past certain things, go through
Right.
those hard learning moments and even some human ideation. Um,
Yes.
I think that
Yes.
the amount of like chaoticness that people just have is super important for
Right.
development. Um,
Right.
that if obviously we can screw this up as just in general,
Sure.
like very easy to mess up.
Right.
So it's like surgical precision, try to make sure everything's working. But yeah,
Right.
um, I think definitely enhancing the human experience is going to be
Yeah.
the next step. Um,
Yeah.
regardless of how like that's really the goal because there's a different way. There's so much different ways this could go.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but how we do it responsibly?
Yes, I'm in the camp of you have to be responsible, but
Yeah.
the word you used in there was enhancing,
Hmm.
and that's the differentiator. We have
Hmm.
this capitalistic society that we're in, for
Yeah.
better or worse, but it rewards for having a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And if you can take a skill set and
Hmm.
enhance that skill set,
Yeah.
that's your competitive advantage.
Oh, absolutely. And it provides exponential growth too, because it's data points. So AI is really good at
Yes.
connecting this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, right?
Right.
And creating iterations based off of those in order to create something totally new. But it's using what's already pre-existing, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were to have, and that's the thing, like people can create new stuff all the time, um, and to go in different directions that AI didn't think about. But
Yeah.
AI is really good at finding the optimal version of the things altogether.
Right. And your optimum changes, right?
Hmm.
So because it's kind of regression to the perfection mean, but
Yeah.
but our, we get we hear about, oh, here's an optimum way of doing that, so we do
Hmm.
that, and now there's the next level of optimum, and that just
Yeah.
you never hit Lombardi, right? Talking
Yeah.
about we chase perfection, we
Hmm.
achieve excellence. You never reach perfection, but
Yeah.
you're always chasing it, and you get better and better and better, and that's that
Hmm.
excellence that yeah.
And it totally does. It changed depending on the context of the situation. So, for example, like Air Homes, I would be very curious to see how Air Homes adopts different models of houses in the next 10 years,
Yes,
right?
huge.
Like that would be interesting to see how you guys use AI to optimize the
Yep.
house experience, like the individual person house for the everyday human being. Like,
Okay. So now you're opening up Pandora's box here.
yep.
And this is what gets me excited about the potential that you're touching on here.
Hmm.
If you look at Tesla and why Tesla is successful today,
Yep.
and being from the automotive industry, I would argue it's an ugly car. The quality sucks. I've got a rattle in my tailgate on my Model Y that somebody dropped a nut in it. And so every time you open the tailgate, you hear this as
Oh,
the nut rolls down. You close it and you hear it roll back. Then the fits and finishes. And the range is off by 100 miles. There's all these bitches that I have about the car. The
hmm,
car is amazing when it comes to this full self-driving. It just is. That's the game changer, and it's going
yeah.
to change. It's going to change where we live. It's going to change how we drive. You're going to be able to relax or work while you're in the car. Huge, huge, huge. How
Hmm.
did they get there? They got there through data. They
Yeah.
got there through getting cars on the road, collecting all of that data, and the more cars they got on the road, the more data they got, and then they used that data. Exactly what you're talking about with AI for homes.
Hmm.
The our product is a smart home. We have a span panel that um, allows you to track where you're using electricity, how long, how much, what. I mean, you can do an electrical signature that you can tell. Oh, okay, they just plugged in a razor. They just plugged in a hair dryer, or you can tell exactly what it is. That data. When
Hmm.
you take that data and you can roll that into future design, when you've got sensors in the home that know how much water they're using, and you know that turns on the lights automatically, and you know which rooms are being used and how much. Now you're just making that home ownership experience perfect, right? And you're just getting better and better and better. And that's what Tesla did such a good job of with data on driving. We want to do the same with data on how you live at
Right.
home. And that's mind blowing when you you think about the potential there.
Yeah, definitely as an engineer, it's such a cool thing to look at as an engineer.
Yeah.
And this is where I really want to challenge you as far as the feeling that you get when you're in the house, right? As far as the
Yeah.
feeling of like comfort, as far as being able to drive that, those things are a little bit more abstract. Um,
Yeah.
how do you guys look at that stuff?
Yeah, so a big part of that comes from the architect, and we partnered with Olson Kundig to do the design of our home. And
Mm,
Olson Kundig, very high-end architect, based out of Seattle. They did the Nike LeBron James headquarters building. They did
nice.
the Space Needle remodel project. They do 20, $30 million homes. In fact, I don't think they've done a home that's as low a price point as ours.
Yeah, but
But
it's been done a
because
thousand times.
exactly, right.
Right.
So we were able to afford to do that because we're using it. And that's what they are focused on. And again, kudos to Carl for working with them to define what that feeling should be,
Hmm.
and then realizing it in the product. And we did this backwards because we didn't design a modular home. We designed a desirable home, a beautiful home. And then our team of engineers went through and said, oh, okay, how do we break this down into something that can be manufactured
Right.
in the plant in Sacramento? And they did a kick-ass job on that, and then the manufacturing team did a kick-ass job of taking that and and building a process where we're now shipping. In fact, we're shipping a home every 7 days for the
Holy
rest of the
shit.
year. Yeah,
Holy
exactly.
shit.
So this is a
Wow.
3,000 square foot, 5 bedroom home every 7 days. Come on, let's solve the housing crisis, right?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
crazy. 7 days
yeah,
for a new house. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Cool. Cool. That really is awesome. So every Saturday someone's hitting a new home.
yeah.
Um, that is unbelievable. When it comes to like you have this team of A players and they're all A
Yep,
players and
yep.
everyone's, and no one's being managed to hell. We're all A players working together. Um, how do you guys handle disagreements? I remember for a time I remember for a time there was like a couple of close calls in our home's history.
Oh
There's some
yeah,
things that went on,
yeah.
like, what was for the people, right?
Yeah, no, that 100%. You're tapping right into the
Yeah.
I'll say the sweet spot, but it's a nerve.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that yeah, plenty of strong opinions, plenty of different ideas, and the biggest thing is the trust.
Hmm.
The team has to have trust in themselves. And, we went through last year, we went through a resizing exercise where we got ahead of ourselves. And
Hmm.
that's totally my fault. I'm thinking, hey, we can accelerate faster, we can ramp faster, we can do more. Let's start hiring. Let's start hiring.
Hmm.
And we overspent. We got
Yeah.
ahead of our debt. We didn't have enough debt to support it. It was like, oh shit. And we had to do a layoff.
Mm.
And we laid off about a third of our employees to kind of get back into the
Yeah.
where we at. And when you're hiring people and when you're hiring passionate people, and then you have to do this about face and say, I'm sorry, we screwed up,
Hmm.
that's huge. And that everybody took a hit when we did that. Um, with any face plant that you do, hopefully you learn from it, so it wasn't a
Yeah.
wasted face plant. And I hope we're not going to do something at that scale again. Touch wood, but it gets into, and now you have these strong opinions. You have
Hmm.
to have this trust
Right.
in everybody pulling their weight and doing their part, um, and we've really got that. You kind of look at the team, and yeah, we got our lots of speed bumps,
Yeah.
but they're kicking ass. They're getting it done here. I mean, we sold our first home at the end of 2023, so it's been about
Hmm.
28 months now, and we're at one home a week. That's $160 million of revenue a year.
Holy
So from
shit.
zero to $160 million in 28 months,
Hmm.
that's a rocket, and people got to hang on, and they got to they got to believe that
Yeah.
it's going to work, and we have that.
Oh
So
my goodness. Okay.
yeah,
So now you've gone from 0 to 1 here in the 28 months. There was some stuff before this that
yeah,
happened. There's some setup. What was that
yeah.
like?
Um, So it's interesting because it's exciting, right?
Hmm.
If you're familiar with the hype curve, where you have
A little
all
bit.
this, yeah, you have all this enthusiasm. AI is in a bit of a hype curve right now,
Yeah.
and it's the same with any business, any startup that you're doing. You have the ideas, you got the enthusiasm, you got the, oh, what about this? What about that? Could be this, could be that, and then you reach this pinnacle, and you drop into the valley of death. Right? And that's where a lot of startups fail is they have all this hype and excitement. It's easy doing the planning, the rah rah, we're going to do this. And then you get punched in the face with reality that
Hmm.
it's just like, oh, that wasn't quite as easy as we thought.
No,
You know,
that we got
you're
a
going to
first
ask.
no.
Yes, and then your 100th no, and then the materials don't fit the way you thought they were going to fit, and then once you hit that valley of death, and you're starting this slow, painful climb out of the valley of death, and that's
Hmm.
kind of where we are right now. Is a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, and now we're in this just kind of this grow, 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 grow phase, and it's tough. It just
Hmm.
is. It's tough, but yeah, that hype curve happens over and over again. So as you're talking to entrepreneurs, it's
Yeah.
be ready for it. You're gonna get through it,
Hmm.
and grit.
Yeah. So,
So
because I mean, the value of death happens every time someone starts a new job. So when you're hiring someone,
yeah,
right? Oh my God, all this excitement. And then you see the value of
yes,
death happen for them.
yeah,
And since you're hiring people pretty in like larger volumes than I guess most people would be going from, you know,
yeah,
my people at the curtain, but you got to start off with maybe 10 people, no, 9 people when you got to Sacramento. And then now you're at 200 people. So
right,
each individual person's gone through the same process of let's go and dips
right,
down and then right.
right.
Um, so how to come managing that as I mean, are you in managing? Are you
Yeah,
like
yeah. Good, love it, Justin. You're hitting on all the all the points here. Kudos to you for for asking those questions. It's culture,
hmm.
right? It's culture is what as people come into an organization, that's what gets them, to your point. Everybody has that honeymoon period, and
Hmm.
then boom, the reality hits, and it's like, what? I gotta swing a hammer all day.
Yeah.
It's the culture of the existing team, and it's not what you say, it's what you do, right?
Wow.
And people watch what you do,
Hmm.
and again, this is my job was super easy because I just hired the first couple of people and then they took it. And
Okay.
we said, hey, this is the culture that we want. That's
Hmm.
part of the hype, because when you do drop into the valley of death, then culture is usually one of the first things to go. And our team has refused to let that happen,
Hmm.
and so have stuck by the culture. And culture takes a hit every day, but have stuck by it. And that means when you bring people in, they see and
Hmm.
they feel that, oh, this company is actually really doing what it said it was going to do. And then and they've it's human nature, right? We all have to test whatever it is that's put in front of us. People come in, they test it, they see it works,
Hmm.
and then now they're part of the culture. And
Right.
so the key is, as we continue this aggressive growth, is can't lose that culture. And
Right.
just no matter what the market throws at us, whatever happens with the economy, whatever happens with business, don't lose the culture. And kind of our founding team has said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
Right.
And culture is a big part of that.
I remember hearing, I think it was Layla Hormozy or something like that. The cultures, the decisions of every single person in the company. Um, how do you build culture in Arrow Homes? How do you build a culture?
Yeah. So expectations
Hmm.
starts with expectations, and then you have to live those expectations. So it's the little micro decisions that happen every day that builds that culture. So, for example, if you walk past somebody that's working that isn't wearing their safety glasses,
Hmm.
and you don't stop immediately and address it, now everybody can see that and say, "Oh, you don't care about safety because you
Mm.
just walked past somebody who could potentially injure their eyes because they forgot to put on their safety glasses."
Right.
And so it's that, even though you're go, 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 hey, I got 100 things to do. I got to do this. I got to do that. Oh, wait a minute. No
Yeah.
safety glasses. Stop. Right. And
Human
it
being. We
takes,
gotta.
yeah. And it's just those little things. And in culture, it's somebody says something in a meeting
Hmm.
that you don't, that isn't part of the culture. Right.
Right.
They say, screw that. Or, oh no, let's cut corners, and, work around the law or something like that. No, stop that immediately.
Hmm.
And just, that's the culture. It's what you
Right.
do and how you step up to it. So,
Yeah. And you guys have done other stuff too. You guys have a bookshelf in your main lobby, right? Where people
yes,
can have access to public books, who people have access
yes,
to, and they return them. They
yeah,
read them, return them. You have the modules, you have frames, everywhere. This
yeah.
honestly, it's pretty much the coolest book I've been in. Maybe Aggie Square might have you guys beat by like that much. It's not as functional as you, trust me,
Yeah,
um, but
yeah,
I mean, like that speaks to culture, right? The decisions that, hey,
yeah,
we encourage your growth. We encourage that you do more stuff for you
yes,
and to help you out, right?
yes,
Like building that
yes.
culture is one of the biggest things that I admire about the company for sure.
Exactly, and it's that growth that, um, I if you want, so all companies are a collection of people, of individuals, and if you want the best company,
Hmm.
you have to have the best people,
Right.
and getting the best people is relatively easy. You can just throw a pile of cash at them.
Hmm.
Um, Keeping the best people is hard, and that's the culture part of it. And if the company legitimately, like authentically cares about the growth of everybody,
Hmm.
If you're an employee and the company cares about your growth, you're going to be motivated, inspired, and you will do more. And if you can align that meaning, because all of us have different meanings in
Hmm.
life, and they change in the stage of life that you're in. But if you can align your work with your meaning,
Hmm.
get out of the way.
Yeah.
That's where the magic happens, right? And that's where we are going to have an unfair competitive advantage because we're going to do that. The bookshelf and encouraging people to read and to grow, and I would love to see that more into to courses and development. And it doesn't matter if I'm a pipe fitter, but I want to learn about AI.
Hmm.
If Arrow Homes can help with that,
Yeah.
then awesome. We're not there. We've got a lot of work to do in in that arena, but
Yeah.
if we can develop everybody personally, killer team.
Yeah. And then you have amazing individuals that can go out and be amazing everywhere else, which is, we need more amazing individuals for sure.
It's so
Like,
true.
especially in a time where we have basically everyone, it doesn't matter how good your computer is, you can get access to AI and build some
Yep.
crazy stuff. So
Yep.
it would be easy. It'd be preferable to have people who are amazing,
Yeah.
than people who are not. So in regards to like those key points being hit, and I'm super, super happy about that. Like, honestly, that, especially for Sacramento companies, that's huge.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have some more questions here that I've
All
prepared.
right.
Um, okay. So how do you like nurture and build relationships with people in venture capital?
Yeah. Um. Oh gosh, it's so. I think that it's no different than relationships in general.
Hmm.
Authenticity, be yourself, speak your truth.
Yeah.
Just they if you put yourselves in their shoes, right? All they do all day long is see
Yeah.
this constant parade of ideas and people uh, and they have to make a choice.
Hmm.
So, um, if you and you're building that relationship so that you can get them to write a check and
Right.
send you some money. And it's that's the start of a partnership with them that hopefully whether it's more money, but it's could be more resources, it could be connections, it could be because they live in a different world
Hmm.
than you and I,
Yeah.
and it's access to that is you're starting a relationship. So the key is you have to be you have to understand your audience. You have to understand what they're trying to do,
Hmm.
and then just be yourself and give your pitch, give your why,
Yeah.
and then let them make their decision. And
Hmm.
it's I've seen so many entrepreneurs that they'll get a no, and they'll go,
Yeah.
"Huh, he didn't understand it, so let me try and
Yeah.
re-explain it to them." And a
Yeah.
no is a no. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what comes. As soon as they say no, then hey, it's
Conversation
time to
done.
move on, and they're going to
Yeah.
give you a reason afterwards. But it
Hmm.
doesn't matter what that reason is. It's no, didn't fit. That's fine.
Yeah.
Um, time to move on to the next one, and they'll
When it
appreciate that. So
Yeah, when it comes to building a message that actually comes across as very easily understood, how do you do that? Because you
yeah,
have probably the best writing I've seen ever. So I would like to know this
yeah.
from you.
It changes, right? And
Hmm.
again, that's the feedback, and that's the tweaking and tuning and shucking and jiving as you get that reality. We have changed our message. I don't know how many investor decks that we
Hmm.
have done, hundreds, literally hundreds,
Wow.
and everybody's got a different opinion on it, and you tweak it every single time, and it just kind of morphs there.
Hmm.
And you can learn from other people out there who have done successful capital raises, and the message is simple and clear. And there's a couple of things you need to touch on. What's the problem you're solving? Why are you different? That's
Hmm.
huge. And the team, right? A
Right.
lot of people need to invest in the team. So there are a couple of key things there, but otherwise you're just tweaking and tuning it as you go.
Right. So I mean, because part of it too, when it comes to investors, is investors are investing in you as well as the idea. So they're investing on how well can you
Huge.
execute this idea?
Yep.
How well can you actually bring back the investment that I've put into you?
Right.
Um, I mean, investors are emotional investors first.
Yep. Very true. And that's why repeat entrepreneurs
Hmm.
have a higher success rate.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like if you're a first time entrepreneur, it's not fair, right?
Hmm.
You have to have experience to get a job, but you can't get a job unless you have experience. And it's this
Yeah.
dichotomy that, and unfortunately, that's just a reality that it's okay, keep pushing, keep driving, keep grinding. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotta be able to eat glass for a while and then get into it.
yeah.
This is awesome. This is honestly, Simon, I have been looking forward to this for so long. I've been like carrying this thing around
Oh, there we
forever.
go. Love
Yeah,
it.
no, I've been representing all my everywhere I go, my jobs, my every like promise you. Um, so like the businesses that I mean, because this is where I'm happy with it. Where do you see Air Homes in the next 10 years?
10 years, boy, I'd love to see us in at least 10 different markets
Mm-hmm.
across the country, doing some international as well, because the housing crisis is not just a U.S. problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love to see us moving down market in terms of price point so
Mm-hmm.
that volume can go up
Right.
and we can really start making the impact on sustainability in the housing crisis.
Yeah.
So we kind of look at it, yes, we're building houses, but really we're in the business of building markets.
Mm.
So we want to get into Southern California later this year. We want to be up in the Northeast next year and just kind of keep expanding, keep adjusting, keep learning, keep growing. But
Right.
yeah, this is a big business. We didn't do it to do a small regional business.
Yeah.
Go big, go home, right?
Air Homes, love it. All right, Simon, greatly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for all that you've done, and please keep working because it's inspiring me, and I know it inspires other people.
Love it. Thank you, Justin. Been an honor to have this chat with you.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.